Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to our CSBG quarterly call for April. Just excited that you're here to join us. We'll start with our land acknowledgement. The Colorado DOLA building itself is situated on the traditional land of several indigenous groups to include the Sioux, Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. Additionally, our reach extends throughout the state, covering traditional lands of various indigenous groups and cultures who have stewarded this land throughout generations and continue to do so. We acknowledge and express respect and gratitude to these people and are committed to continually working to create a long-lasting, non-extraditive, and supportive relationship with Native people throughout Colorado. Our next acknowledgement we'd like to do is our labor acknowledgement. We acknowledge that much of what we know of this country today, including its culture, economic growth, and development throughout the history and across time, has been made possible by labor of enslaved Africans and their descendants. Additionally, we acknowledge the Chinese immigrants who built railroads and allowed for westward American development, Japanese Americans whose properties and livelihoods were taken from them while incarcerated during World War II, and migrant workers from the Philippines, Mexico, and Central and South America who have worked Pacific Northwest farms and canneries. We recognize the immigrant and American-born workers of African, Asian, and Central and South American descent, whose labor remains hidden in the shadows, but still contributes to the well-being of our collective community and who have fostered the conditions for us to be able to access our current quality of life, and those who have gathered, prepared food, and provided essential services. Our next part will be our guest speakers for today. It is Christina and Brian. Hello to Christina and Brian. It's so nice to have you joining us. And yeah, if you all have a presentation, I've made you co-hosts and you can share your screens.
Marvelous. Yes, indeed. I do have a presentation and I want to give just a super quick demo of raising Colorado kids as well. If I may, really quick, by a show of hands using like the Zoom React button at the bottom, can you raise your hand if you've heard of raising Colorado kids yet? That is a literal handful of people, one person. Okay, well, good. Sounds like this is a good forum to kind of unveil this then. So let me get started. Thanks, by the way, for hosting us and allowing me to crash this. We don't use Zoom very often, so I hope I'm doing this right here.
While you're getting set up, I'll just do a quick intro. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Heil, and I work at the Department of Early Childhood as our State and Community Partnerships Manager. So really excited to get the chance to say hello and excited to support Brian in the presentation. I'm happy for any follow-up as Brian is as well, I'm sure. So anything related to more the CDEC side, I'm happy to help with, but just wanted to, yeah, do a quick intro and thank you for having us.
Thanks. Are you all seeing a Raising Colorado Kids logo slide here? Perfect. Okay. So I'll try to keep this brief and just kind of get to the point. That's me. I'm Brian Dreller. I am what's called a product strategist here. It's a relatively new position. The long and short of it is I sort of sit in between Colorado families and smart people that actually build things. So building things meaning like a website or a program, resource guide, things like that. Fairly new role in the department, and I'm new to the department as well, relatively. Fast forward here. Okay, so what is Raising Colorado Kids? So this has been a long time in the making, well before I joined the department. But as you know, and as most families have experienced, there is a wealth of information out there for raising youngins and for seeking family help across many, many different websites, not only within the Department of Early Childhood, but on other state agency sites, some of the legacy sites before early childhood was early childhood. And it became painfully obvious that we could benefit from a consolidation of a lot of that information. So what Raising Colorado Kids is at this point is a consolidation of a lot of those resources. So primarily what was on the early childhood site, what's on Colorado Shines, what is on Colorado 211. A lot of that information has been pulled in here. No, those sites still exist, mind you, but we're consolidating a lot of that information, and you can also search those sites from within Raising Colorado Kids. So again, the mission is really to consolidate, have a one-stop shop where Colorado families can get all the information they need. And feel free to jump in to stop me or ask a question. So it is sort of two parts in one to Raising Colorado Kids. We have this wealth of information, which is just a research guide, a sort of standard website where I can find anything I want to know about raising my 3-year-old, my 5-year-old, etc. There is also what we're calling the Early Childhood Services Finder. So I will show everybody this in a moment here, but it is a hub where I can, as a family or as a parent, as a caregiver, enter some basic information. It's about 20 questions. And at the end of it, I'm presented with a page that shows me all of the marvelous programs that I may be eligible for and why. So asking things like income, what county I reside in, homelessness, all these sort of typical qualifying factors that we see for eligibility, all baked into the single screener that screens for all of the programs that have been loaded up into this. So let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? So I'm sorry, I got to get my Zoom controls out of the way here. There we go. Man, they really take up the screen, don't they? Okay, so this is raisingcoloradokids.com. You will see, I'm actually scroll down a little bit here. And sorry, I got to get our little faces out of the way too, my bad. What you'll see here is, again, a wealth of information. And because there's so much information, the navigation can get a little heavy at times, but we're encouraging people to leverage the search capability to find what they need. There's multiple ways to kind of get to the same information here. But you'll see that, no matter what I'm looking for, if it's quality childcare, is my child in the right stage of development or tracking according to standards? Are there resources available to me, et cetera, et cetera? I can find that all in here. So you'll see these tiles here are kind of a horizontal representation of some of those primary topics that were in that menu. Here is a link. You'll see this peppered pretty prominently throughout the site with this yellow button. This is what takes me to that questionnaire, that eligibility screener. I'm able to kind of apply to UPK right from here, find services based on my location. So when I go on this site, or when I first loaded, the browser asked me, hey, is it okay if I give you my location? And then it'll kind of zero in on services that are local to you. At the state here, we're not actually allowed to have location services turned on. So that's why it's sort of all over the literal map here. So yeah, and then here's some information from Colorado 211. I won't go too much further into it. I would encourage everybody to kind of poke around and understand what's in here. And then why did my controls come back? I'm sorry, everybody, I gotta hide these again. All right, now I'm gonna hop over to the early childhood services finder. I have the proverbial pre-baked pie here. I've already gone through the questionnaire just in the interest of time. And this is what the landing page looks like. There's something I didn't mention yet, and that is we're also introducing this notion of an application status dashboard. So imagine I have a UPK application that I've submitted. That is integrated with this platform here. So I can see the status of my UPK application. We're also plugged into the CCAP system known as Chats. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So we can pull your CCAP application in here too. So not only do I have this dashboard of what I've already applied to for those two programs anyway, but I also, if I scroll down, see all of these services that I may qualify for. And then under each of these, it'll tell me, okay, why am I eligible? Some of these everybody's eligible for, obviously, or some of these services that I may not be eligible for. Well, I may make too much money, or I don't live in this county, or my child isn't the right age, etc. So again, in the interest of time, I'll pause it there. I'll go back to the presentation here. And I can't see everybody, so feel free to raise your hand or just shout to get my attention here. And I wanted to give an update of kind of where we are with this and what we're looking to do. So I gave a 3-minute demo of this, and I have a question here for any initial reactions. I don't expect anybody, unless there's something flagrantly obvious that you want to call out here. But our goal right now is to really start to get that feedback. We have soft launched this this site, and by soft launch, actually, no, I'm sorry, we've officially hard launched this site. We have. I'm going to fast forward and then go back here where we are with unveiling this to the world right now and pretty much ongoing, always looking for feedback. Do we have the right information here? What's missing? What do we need to update or focus more on? Where we are with promotions is we've just kicked off kind of a lightweight digital promotion. So think, Google search keyword, media buys, social media ads. So this thing on the left here actually is one of our ads that's out there right now, directing folks to the site. And then beyond that, pending, budget and some of the feedback from folks like you, we want to start creating some testimonials, some videos, showing people using this, providing printed materials, flyers, take home things, partner evangelism, all of those sorts of things. So to that end, I would really love to, if we have a minute or two, just for somebody to flag a quick couple ideas, how can we help spread the word? I'm going to stop sharing so I can actually see everybody here. Well, I just see a bunch of names. Me personally, I'm new. Every sort of program we have has a slightly different nuanced approach of how we want to get it in front of, underserved populations, hard to reach families in the state. So I would love to hear, what obviously budgets are tight. So where should we place our bets with, some sort of flyer or other outreach initiatives that would give us the biggest bang for our buck? We do have some concepts in the hopper, but if anybody has just a hands down, oh, you should absolutely invest in this right now, then I'd love to hear something like that. If not, don't worry. I can put my email address in the chat, and I would love to hear from anybody if you want to follow up.
Give folks a moment to put some thoughts together for you. Brian, Josiah Massengill with the CCAA. Thank you so much, and Christina for joining us and for the information. While folks are still thinking about your question, and I have a thought on that, but I was going to ask, what are the sources of the eligibility determination that you all are kind of using for the system, if you don't mind, if you have them offhand, some of them at least.
So, good question. Is everybody familiar with Bridge Care? You heard that name out there?
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a detail that's unnecessary. They are the platform vendor here. They're actually the system that runs the universal preschool application and provider portal system. So baked into that platform is a bunch of these eligibility screeners that are kind of configured in there. So long story short, it's from the programs themselves. Like, we need to have you in this income range or this percentage of, federal poverty limits, county boundaries, age boundaries, all of that stuff is loaded into this system and audited. That might be your follow-on question: is how do you keep this up to date? Because things change. Luckily, we have this sort of configurable back end where we can just, type in some updated dates for like universal preschool. Obviously, those dates are going to change every year for eligibility. So date of birth, I should say, changes every year. The eligibility. So that's the short of it. Is we just audit it from the programs. They all contributed to this. That said, we're not done with programs. So if we discover that, we don't have XYZ program represented in here, absolutely, we would want to explore getting that added into here and then make sure we have the screener set up appropriately.
Appreciate that information. Lindsay on the chat had a related question if it was connected to my friend Ben. I know that's a Gary Communities resource
Mhm.
that's going out there now.
Yeah, great question. No is the short answer. We're obviously very well aware of it and good friends with Ben and and with Gary. Um, we are complementary services at this point. I come from the private sector, so my mind kind of leaps towards they're a competitor, but that's obviously not how it works here. We're all in this together to serve Colorado families. But our goal with this services finder is to recognize, Governor Polis's vision and sort of this overarching vision of one place for families to find, to discover services and to apply for services. So that's where we want to take this eventually. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy and we're going to get there tomorrow, but that is ultimately the goal. I fill out one application and it farms out to all of these places. The reason I'm bringing that up is I think that's going to be the point where, my friend Ben kind of ends because they're not connected to all the state systems and whatnot. But that is our ultimate mission. Right now, there is quite a bit of overlap. So we're definitely in communication with my friend Ben folks.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for the information. Again, you got some good comments coming in the chat on some ways to get the information out, and appreciate that. I
Oh,
did have
yes.
one other question, and this is self-serving for our network. How might we use this resource for our own data needs and analysis as communities, agencies? We are going into our 3-year community needs assessment process next year. And we like to look at other resources from outside of our, within the walls of our agencies to understand, not only what are the needs in those areas, and oftentimes we tap into 211 data, but also what are the resources available, but also lacking in those areas. So any thoughts you might have on that would be welcome.
Hmm.
And you can get back to me on that one, and we can get the word out too. But
Yeah, maybe
oftentimes,
I'd like to take a little bit more time with that one.
sure, yeah. Oftentimes we'll reach out to 211 at some point, whichever 211 server in our community, and say, hey, we're doing a needs assessment. What do you have any aggregated data that you could provide us? Nothing, down to the client or customer level, but
Yeah.
so food for
Let's
thought.
follow up on that. That's a really interesting conversation.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Um,
It looks
yeah.
like there's also a comment of parents being able to look for summer care options
Hmm.
and connecting with that on your site. And then curious if it reflects Larimer County's on a freeze and other counties might be as well, and wondering if your site provides that information to folks.
Question.
That's a great comment. I don't believe the site has that explicitly stated that, there's freezes in various counties, but those are some of the opportunities that we want to explore of making it more localized and specific as you get to that screener results page saying, well, hey, red flag here. Unfortunately, we're not accepting new, applications into the program at the moment. Um, but yeah, there is no explicit notice on this particular site that articulates that. And thank you, Abigail, for kind of meeting the question of, meeting families where they are. That's something again where we want to be there. We want to have materials in doctors' offices or libraries and community centers. So yeah, thank you for that feedback there.
And to Abigail's point, Brian and Christina and Abigail has been leading this on our side. We're about to formally launch our diaper distribution demonstration research project with WeCycle, who is the diaper distributor in Colorado for the main part. And so if you're not working with them, obviously love to make that connection, make sure that, this information is available when they're going out and engaging new populations and their current populations.
Thank you so much for that. I had not heard of that. It's a very clever name too.
I'd love an introduction there. Josiah, if you're willing to do that for maybe Brian and I together, and we can kind of
Absolutely.
make
Well,
that wonderful.
Abigail
Thank
will
you.
will help us arrange that for sure.
Thank
Thank you.
And just as a last note as folks maybe get any last comments or questions in, but a lot of our communities, a lot of the folks on the call are doing really great work around organizing connections with other agencies and partner agencies around data. And a lot of this is for service provision and making sure that it's really known what resources are out there. But a lot of it is also for analysis and being able to really paint the picture. So there's probably further connections down that avenue as well.
Wonderful. Okay, well, my email address is in that in the chat here, kind of scrolled off there, but would absolutely welcome any follow-up from anyone on the phone here. So thank you for letting me crash your party.
Thank you all for being here, and you're welcome to hang out for the rest of our meeting or, head out. I did add your emails into the slide presentation, which will go out to folks afterwards as well. So the resource will be there for them.
Thank you. And I'm happy to send the slides along too, if that's something you want to include. There's obviously not a ton in there, but just let me know if you'd like that.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much, Brian.
Okay. Can do.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Christina. Really appreciate it. And I'll share my screen and we will hop back into our agendas. Next, talking about some recent completions on the DOLA side of things. The continuing resolution is allowing the federal poverty level at 200% through 9/30/25, which is really awesome. And then we'll keep hearing from folks if that continues, depending on what the next year's budgets or any other continuing resolutions look like. Option letter 7 has been completed and should be in the grants portal for nearly everybody. And a huge, huge, huge shout out and thank you so much to each and every one of you on the annual reports and all of the hard work and the back and the forth and the data and all the work to get the information into us into the THO system. Thank you, thank you. And then hearing back from us, thank you. Like we got it turned in and OCS was very happy and excited for us that we got it turned in on time. And we're expecting revisions and feedback from OCS later May and June. And then you'll hear from us again, any questions that they have, and that we'll work on helping to answer those for them. One other thank you, it's not on the slide, but wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that participated in the ACSI feedback report. We did get the results of that and we're kind of looking through it and really appreciate the feedback that everyone has provided for us. And we'll follow up along those as needed. Upcoming things, spend down plans. It's an annual thing, just sending that spend down information to us. Y'all got emails yesterday or today. If you do have funds that are meant to be spent down by the end of September 30th, 2025. And it's a super quick Google form just letting us know if you're like, oh yeah, we totally got this. Here's our plan. Or, oh my gosh, we have $1 bajillion we want to give back for someone else to spend. And if you have the $1 bajillion, please let us know. We'll share it with everybody. Risk assessment letters will be going out likely this week. And that just gives you the annual risk assessment. Pretty much everyone's around that standard risk assessment, which does still include the twice a year desk monitorings. And if you have questions after you get that email with that letter, feel free to reach out to me as well. And risk assessments are based on a variety of things, and they're described in there. And you just kind of look at like overall assessment for the last program year. Organizational standards, and I know everybody just did these and it was like 4 seconds ago that we worked on them. Just to, saying it out loud that they'll be due at the end of July. Definitely stay tuned for when we'll be opening for the 2025 input. We'll let you know about that. And the other big one that's coming up is the state plan. Colorado CSBG program does a biannual state plan, and we will be looking through the last one and the feedback on that, and then letting you all know opportunities for feedback and input in the areas that have that impact. We want to be able to have a few kind of like a town hall meeting about it. We'll definitely be talking about it at that July conference that we have coming up and get submitted back to OCS by the end of the summer. Any questions on any of those fun things? If you see a question, Josiah, just let me know. Sharing screen, it makes it hard to see all the fun buttons and stuff. But that is my part of it. Josiah, I am going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Becky. Do you mind continuing with your slideshows? I think, yeah, there you go. Perfect. I'll probably take over here in a second. Just go to our conference website here in a minute, but do want to hit a couple of topics before we get into that. First off, happy tax day, everybody. If you haven't done your taxes, you're probably wanting to get out of this meeting and go get them done. Today is the deadline. We've had a really productive 2025 tax preparation season through our volunteer income tax assistance program. Big congratulations and thank you to Abigail for leading our network of VITA sites across the state. These wonderful volunteers that coordinate a bunch of IRS certified tax preparers to provide tax return preparation, get them e-filed. Did 16,000 last year and hoping to clear that number by a good amount this year. So keep your fingers crossed for us. Did want to make note that many of our sites do remain open beyond today. And for folks that maybe missed the deadline or are, for whatever reason, needing assistance, there still is some out there. You can go or have them go to our website, coloradovita.org. That's coloradovita.org. And that can help them find a site, or they can always reach out via the IRS website as well. So please do keep promoting that resource, and thank you all for any promotion that you've provided throughout the season this year. Another big thank you and congratulations goes out to Abigail around us officially launching our diaper distribution research pilot project. This is through federal funding through the Office of Community Services. They've been a great partner. We're really excited to partner around this grant through September of 2026 with WeCycle, as I mentioned to Brian and Christina. This is to get new diaper resources out to areas that WeCycle isn't currently, areas or populations that WeCycle is not currently providing with their diaper services. And that's obviously going to be huge. It's a big amount of money on a monthly basis through that September 2026 date. But also, as importantly, it's going to be providing research data on the impact of diapers and diapering supplies on households with low income. In Colorado, we're so fortunate to be involved in this fourth cohort of the diaper, what we affectionately call DDDRP. So reach out if we could connect you all with WeCycle or if you want further information on that one. And Becky, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, thank you. Here's our conference. I put a link up in the chat. Hopefully you all are getting a lot of communication or seeing us talk about this and considering attending. I'm not going to bring up the website on the screen. We can keep looking at the slide, but you know, you'll continue to get some correspondence around this. It's going to be virtual and in person, July 16th through 18th. In person at the Loveland Conference Center, Embassy Suites, beautiful facility, great place, Loveland, Larimer County. Really appreciate the Larimer County staff, Emily and Sarah, for being involved in helping us make a great conference there this summer. Early bird registration's now open. It's $175, which is a great value. Just the food alone is going to get you value there for the schedule we have, which is basically 2 full days, Wednesday and Thursday, and then a Friday morning closing breakfast. And there will be a networking event with David Bradley and the National Community Action Foundation Tuesday evening to start off the conference. One of the great events that we always do at the conference is the family night. This year on Thursday evening, we're going to have a great event at Main Event. I know a lot of you probably have been to a Main Event. They're all over the Front Range and other places. We got 3 hours of bowling and arcade games and laser tag, and it's going to be just a hoot. So looking forward to that. This is going to be and I also wanted to mention that we'll have all our national partners at the conference, as well as a variety of great keynote speakers and workshops, and some of you all are going to be doing some of that as well. And so thank you, and really looking forward to your involvement. This is going to be a great conference for subrecipient partners, certainly for your tripartite board members, um, any local stakeholders, really. I think this is one of those conferences that almost anybody can get a lot out of when they attend and really are open to all the ideas that are going to be flying about. We do have scholarships available, scholarship funding to support attendance from your local stakeholders to the conference, whether that means mileage or helping them with the lodging or paying for the registration fee, etc. So please reach out to us if we can support and encourage folks to apply for a scholarship. You can get more information and apply on our website. And lastly, just a general side note on all of this, I think it's incredibly important now more than ever, probably, to engage each other, engage the network around our work and our impact. So we're hoping that all of you really consider attending and that you encourage your local partners and your local supporters and stakeholders and customers, constituents to attend as well. There are some national conferences going on, obviously, through the rest of the spring and summer and early fall. Our scholarship support can go towards attendance to these as well. It's always incredibly beneficial for folks to engage in these national conferences for a variety of reasons. And there's some great venues, great cities for all four of our national partner conferences that are scheduled through September of 2025, September this year. So check those out when you get the slides. Let us know if we can support anybody's attendance. And lastly, we've opened up our Roma training for 2025, got a schedule started. We'll be in person in Denver on June 3rd. And this is specifically targeting Denver Human Services CSBG subrecipients. But if there's room left over, we'll open it up to anybody and everybody. So look for that. And then a virtual training that'll take place over the first three Thursdays of June is also now on the calendar and is open to registration. So if you know of anyone that would like to go through the Introduction to Roma training, the virtual training is a three-part training that takes place over 3 days and 3-hour sessions. And we try to make it as accessible as possible through the Zoom remote presentation and participation. So excited to launch Roma for 2025. And I believe that is my topics. Any questions or comments for us over at the CCAA? We'll definitely follow up with Brian and Christina around the material they presented. It was really great and want to see how we can further connect around all that. So you'll probably see some stuff coming out from us around that in the future too. Becky, back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this group is very, very chatty and just always talking over each other. So, please, take your time, take your turns. If you have any comments, questions, ideas, feedback, you can pop it in the chat, unmute yourself if you'd like, send a carrier pigeon. We are here to support you all. Ooh, I see a couple hands up. Carissa.
Hi, I have a couple of questions about the annual report.
Okay.
So the first one is just the responses about gender. So like when we reported out, it was just male or female. And so we were wondering if that would be expanded for next year or if at least like another option. Because I think our subs have been utilizing like, more options besides male and female.
Yeah. That is a very good question. It's one that is not in our control. As far as like the information that goes up to OCS in that annual report, they're following the directives that they have to keeping it male or female. If your subs would like to continue having more options on that, that is absolutely their prerogative, and having that information for their local information and data and collections that they need. And then what shows up in the annual report, we fit into the options that they are offering us at this time. We will certainly update you all if we hear something different from OCS or if things change before the next round of annual report information.
This is Lauren. I'm sitting next to Carissa and I work with her. Hi all. So is there an option for not reported? Most categories have not reported as an option. I guess what I worry about is with it only being male and female, then I know that system's gonna yell at us and tell us our numbers are off, and Josiah's gonna have to have more meetings with us, which I know he loves. So I guess I'm wondering, will we have, it didn't seem like we had unknown or not reported as an option. Are those the only two we will be able to utilize?
That is a great question. And, especially if like the data wasn't collected and information like that, I know they kind of gave it a pass this year as far as like data lining up specific to that category because it was a last minute change, and absolutely will provide them that feedback of having even a, unknown or not reported as a third option.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
And then we had one other question for the work status. So like, um, what if somebody in the house has two jobs? How would we report that? Like if they had like two part-time jobs, would we then classify it as just mark them as like the full-time since it would be the combined hours, or we're just trying to plan ahead and change our system for our subs. That's why we're thinking about next year's reporting.
Yeah, that's a great question. And you actually get at a data issue we have with the demographic report there. And there's several of those types of issues across the report, as I'm sure many of you know. But Becky, I think you and I can discuss. I think the issue is if you were to say, obviously, Chris and Laura, you've thought this through, but if you were to report that person twice underemployed part-time, then it would throw off your counts and you would get the email from me and etc. So I would say you probably would count them as employed part-time, but just once. But that's just my initial take on it. And Becky, jump in and we can discuss further, obviously.
Yeah, it is a good question, and certainly would like a chance to kind of think on that one as well. I appreciate y'all asking the questions. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Can you also think on the health insurance, knowing that people can have multiple health insurances?
Yes, that one we try to account for as much as possible when we do our
Okay.
pre-review and try not to question you when it seems like there's a lot of health insurance sources. Now if there's
Yeah.
certain things that conflict with how data in other parts of this that demographic report is reported, then we might question that, but we try to take that into account, as well as some other areas where we understand that there might be more than one of something. Good question.
Thank you. I think that's all the ones we had.
Yeah. And I just make a note that I think after going through the pre-review process, and we've done this year after year for so many years, I would say that your all's data is really pretty quality all across the board. So thank you all. You could tell that the data collection you all are implementing, you're doing the best you can, and you're presenting pretty quality data, and I appreciate it, and we appreciate it.
I back that up 100% what Josiah said. Y'all are pretty amazing and do a lot of the hard work, pretty much all the hard work. So,
And our Fed
Courtney,
partners appreciate it too, right, Becky? Our federal
they
partners.
do. Yeah, when they brag about Colorado because you all make Colorado amazing, we like that.
We save them time and work.
do. Courtney, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I know that I should remember this because this is like however many years in, but for the org standards, is there going to be like a reminder training of what we need to do this year? Or since it's like mid grant cycle, it's not a big deal. I just can't remember what I need to focus on for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We will offer trainings and updated information on the org standards, especially once we know when it's open to start inserting new data and working with THO and, what data can stay in there if it's not expired and, versus the ones that we review and do update every time. So we will offer that training.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And we are hoping that, because we don't just start fresh every year and that a lot of the things will stay from last year, that you all will be able to go through a lot of those very quickly because you all have already provided the documentation. So here's to hoping.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Like, is it the big one? Is it the not big one? So thanks.
Yeah. I think the big one will be 2027-ish because that's when we'll have our new needs assessment, community action plan, some of those big 3-year documents out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might also be extra interesting if they go to the 3.0 annual report and we haven't heard one way or another any official final dates of when they will go to the 3.0. We will keep you all posted, of course.
Thank you.
Great reason to attend the conference in July. We'll have the latest updates.
Any other questions? Right. Well, Josiah and I can stick around for a few minutes, and if you have other questions or you'd like to ask one-on-one or bug us later, we are here to support all of you. Thank you all again so much for attending today. We really appreciate it. And we'll get the recording posted and the information sent out to you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.